Hours of body pain relief per dose. Elite keeps you moving with long-lasting body pain relief.
You are looking live on a Monday. How we doing? Divisional playoffs?
Going with Elite.
Hope everybody had a good weekend. We're ready to roll.
Try Elite.
It's going to be a good monologue. Me and Clay have put together, coming off wild card weekend. A lot to get to today.
Is even worse. I gotta get a new job.
Truck you.
Wait, what?
Truck you.
You don't have to curse at me.
Dude, you should check out Truck You CD.
Hope you had a good weekend, everybody. There's a lot to talk about today. Most of my monologue will be about Mendoza.
Truck You offers small classes.
Will be about Mendoza.
They will even help with payment programs. Check them out. Truck, the letter U, LV.com. Truck You.
Australia's biggest sport hits Vegas.
All right. I think everybody's on board with Mendoza, but we'll see.
Aussie vibes, one epic ticket. Plug in your seat now at nrl.com/Vegas. Rugby League, Las Vegas. Let's go.
Wake up with the morning tailgate with Clay Baker. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10 on Raider Nation via 920 ARL Las Vegas. It's the JD the Brick Show.
You know, we're going to have a lot of positive energy. The guys that love to compete and play with passion are going to have a chance at the place.
Your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years.
Man, I'm loving it, man. They're making my job tremendously easy to be out here with these young, talented players, man. I think we have a really good team. I'm super excited. I'm already loving this fan base.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And now, here's JT Brick.
Out of the gate, JT with you as we kick off a new week on the radio all over the world on the Raiders mobile app. YouTube, as I'm streaming live. This would be a good one to stream live to. I have a feeling this one's going to rip. And you can catch us on Raider Nation Radio on the LV Sports Network. I'm on X today live, and I'm also on Facebook at JT the Brick on Facebook, where I like Facebook. You can make some nice internet friends, and the stock remains good to me. All right, we got a lot to get to this week, but most of it's going to be about the NFL playoffs. And sorry, Raider Nation, I'm looking to build this out to a lot more fans than Raider fans, but we understand our priority with our advertisers and what we do here every day. We're Raider Nation Radio. You can see by the imaging behind me as we get going here. But there's a lot. This is my favorite. My favorite month of the year is October. October, you got a lot going on. There's a lot of big things happening. But once you get to January 1st, it's Captain Obvious stuff. You're getting from January 1st to the day after the Super Bowl, and we're on automatic pilot. If you're a pilot, you know, when you're up 30,000 feet, and you're on a 10-hour flight, you're 3 hours in, you just put on automatic pilot and you go. You don't have to worry about anybody up there. No one's going to run up to you 30,000 feet. It's automatic pilot. That's where we are till after the Super Bowl. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to interview NFL guests. We're going to talk about the teams left in the playoffs. We have coaching vacancies, which are really important. That affects us here in Vegas. And obviously, the Raiders have the number one pick overall, but that takes us through April. Remember, the draft is at the end of April. So really the draft stuff should be heavy. Combine, which to me has never been my thing. I'm not a combine guy because now they don't even show up at the combine. They don't run. They don't do anything. They don't throw. They don't run. I mean, you want to talk about a bunch of divas now. They don't even they just show up at the combine to say hi and go on a couple of interviews. They won't even put shorts on and run. And then we get into the draft, and it's going to be lunacy around here because the Raiders have the number one pick. So I've been thinking of this monologue all weekend long, and it's brought to you by PTs as they fuel the monologue, 5 to 7, midnight to 2. If you come to Vegas, you're in Southern Nevada, throughout Nevada, you know. Golden Entertainment owns over 70 taverns. They have the best happy hour in town. Go hang out at the happy hour there. I'm going to call this my Mendoza monologue. This is my Mendoza monologue. I want to get this out of the way now for anybody who has any doubt about where I stand on this or where you stand on this. We got to get this on film. That's what YouTube does. We got to throw this up here, and that could be rough because there are times you say something on radio and people clip it, or they take the audio or they take the video, and then something dramatic happens the other way, and oh boy, you got to own it. I've owned everything I've ever said on the radio. I've never said anything on the radio I regret. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You know where to find me. But I'm not one of those I want to be wrong on purpose merchants to build up my numbers. See, that's a big change that's happened in sports radio since Embrace Debate. Since we got to the point that a couple of rogue cable sports networks decided to say, we don't need to get it right. We need a former athlete and a writer to get in the room and come up with some fake topics, and you take one side and you take the other. Now, Pardon the Interruption's done that brilliantly because it's organic. Wilbon and Kornheiser work together at the Washington Post. They're friends. They don't fight. They don't fight. There have been other radio hosts in the history of radio that don't talk to their partners. Imagine being in radio your entire career and you go through 4 or 5 years where you don't even talk to your partner. You despise the guy you work with, and you can't even go when you go to commercial. One of the guys got to leave the room because you don't talk to each other. Wink, wink. If you don't know who those guys are, they've been out there. So I'm a solo host. I get to do this solo, and I got a couple of good voices that chime in. I like it that way. But we're in an element now in sports media where we're putting as many people on to come in with hot takes and clicks, and they're told by their bosses and their producers and directors before they frame the topic that you cannot be on the same page. One of you guys are going to be the right guy, the other guy's going to be the wrong guy, and then play it up dramatically like you're an actor. Like you're an actor. You take the bad side, you take the right side, we'll stir the pot, and our ratings will go up. And it's worked. It really has worked. If you look at ESPN and Fox now, all it is these debate shows. And they're adding more people, and they're getting louder. They're getting louder. They're getting more dramatic because we just can't talk sports anymore. We just can't watch games and then talk about the games. I guess that doesn't work anymore. We got to go there and we got to tear people down or build people up, and we have to have a debate. And the guys who came up with this concept of debate, most of them are not in the business anymore. They've had their personal transgressions and they're out. And then the younger directors and program directors don't know anything, so they just go with the low-hanging fruit debate, put 11 guys on the set at the same time or 6 at the same time and just have them get after it. So I thought about this with Mendoza because I watched a lot of Mendoza here over the last couple of weeks. Full disclaimer, I didn't watch a lot of Indiana football this year. I know how good Indiana is. I was embedded in the Raiders working game day and doing my national show 3 nights a week. Yeah, I saw Mendoza on SportsCenter. I saw him on Big Noon Kickoff. I saw the games. I was following Indiana. Indiana came and they ended up being the best team out there. Right? They ended up being the best team out there. And then it was on everybody's radar. So we're all on top of Mendoza watching it. So Mendoza seems to be a high character guy. High character. A lot of people call it a God squad. I don't have a problem with that word. I love God. I love when athletes like Tim Tebow talk about their faith. Derek Carr was a preacher while he was playing. Mendoza, the first thing out of his mouth every time he talks is, I want to thank God. I'm cool with that. I'm great with that. I have no problem. Whenever you're in front of a microphone, if you want to talk about your faith, I'm good with that. So he checks that box. Number 2, he makes every throw. He's been impeccable with his throwing, motion, arm, everything has been pretty much perfect. He's a winner. He's a great teammate. Check, check, check. And he's young. He's healthy. He's the pick. He's the pick. All right? You don't have to talk yourself out of it. But what's happening, and what I wanted to frame today, is that they're not going to let this kid be the first pick easily. There are going to be smear merchants out there. I'm talking smear merchants that are going to come after this kid at some point. They're going to come at him. That's the nature of the beast. They're going to find something on the internet. Something's out there. Something is out there. They're going to try to find it, and they're going to try to tear the kid down because that's the society we live in now. No need to. This guy is great. Could something pop up that I'm not aware of? Probably not, but you got to keep that door open. The kid's got everything you need. Everything you need to be great. Now, as I continue with this monologue on Mendoza, I want to make this point because this is what I thought about over the weekend too. In the Raider Nation, we have not had our choice for quarterback in quite some time. I just finished my 28th season, and I had some of the worst quarterbacks in NFL history play for this team, and I covered the team. Either sideline reporter, pre and post, whatever I was doing. Donald Hollis. Go down the list. Good guys, Matt McGloin, whoever it was along the way. Kerry Collins when he came to the Raiders. right? You go through the list of quarterbacks. Andrew Walter, remember him? Those weren't my choices. Geno Smith wasn't my choice. Are you nuts? Geno Smith threw for 4,300 yards, 70%, went to the Pro Bowl. He wasn't my choice. Did I think Geno's good? Yeah, Geno's good. If you're going to give him to me, what do you want me to do? Stand at the airport with the sign, no Geno? Do that. I work for the team. We work on the flagship. We want Geno to do well. It did not work with Geno. He played poorly. He played bad enough to lose his job and never play again. Now, I know he could play again because they owe him a lot of money. So they might bring him back to be the bridge. But Geno wasn't our choice in the Raider Nation. We didn't have the debate or discussion like we can have with Fernando Mendoza. He could be our choice. So I started going back and looking at all the quarterbacks that the Raiders have had. And I'll keep it simple here, just in Vegas. Just in Vegas on the move to Vegas. Derek Carr. So Derek Carr is probably the last Raider quarterback that we were truly invested in. I mean, really invested in him. Fresno State. His dad loved the Raiders. We knew who he was. His brother was the first pick overall, number 1 pick. So he came from a family of football. And Derek, we were invested in Derek. Started off 0-10, and then he started winning. We got to know Derek, a very good player. Really good player. Derek Carr, multiple Pro Bowls. Broke his ankle when he had his best year. I don't think he was ever the same from there, but still a good player. And we mostly, all of us, speak highly of Derek Carr. We're disappointed he never won a playoff game. Go ask Justin Herbert how that's working in L.A. Go ask Justin Herbert how that's working in L.A. He hasn't won a playoff game yet either. So with all this happening, we don't get an opportunity much to choose the Raider quarterback. They gave us Jimmy Garoppolo, but he was injured. I thought that was weird. Jimmy Garoppolo bought me shots and the whole team at a hockey game. The women in Summerlin were swooning. A very good-looking man like George Clooney. That wasn't my pick. I didn't say go get Jimmy Garoppolo. They gave us Jimmy Garoppolo. So I went on the radio and said he won 4 playoff games. He quarterbacked in a Super Bowl, won an NFC championship. Just give me the facts on him. But I wasn't standing on the railroad tracks going to take a train for this guy, but he was the choice. So we had to stay with him. You think I was out there on the radio, look it up, screaming for Gardner Minshew? You think I wanted Gardner Minshew? That wasn't my choice. They went out and got Gardner Minshew. Now I feel like this is my choice, finally. I finally feel like I have a voice to say the quarterback that I want. I finally do. It's been a long time. Because even with Derek, it got a little bit bumpy with Derek, but not with me. I hosted a show up on 95.7 The Game. Me and Derek never had a bad word to each other. But, it was getting bumpy with Derek after a while. We went through Gruden. Josh McDaniels benched him. He's not at the game. He's out. I got a little bit bumpy with Derek. I didn't want to see it in that way. But Derek Carr was the choice, and he was a 9-year guy for us. So we almost went a decade without having an opinion on a quarterback because we had a good one in Derek Carr, and we should have won more games with Derek, we the Raider Nation. We should have. We should have won multiple playoff games with Derek Carr. He's a hell of a quarterback. Look who's in the playoffs now. Well, you don't think Derek could put up better numbers than Trevor Lawrence, who just got popped, or Justin Herbert, who just got eliminated? You don't think Derek Carr in his 7th year was better than Bo Nix is right now in his 2nd year? You don't think Derek could have a game like Brock Purdy? I do. He was able to do that, but it just didn't work for Derek. So now we have a chance to get it right. And here come the clickbait guys. Oh, here they come. Oh, they're ready to go, man, because I got to get their clicks up. Because if you don't get your clicks up, you're going to get fired from your online site. Not a newspaper you work for. You got to get clicks. I still get the newspaper delivered to my lawn. I got to make sure the sprinklers aren't on. They kind of cover my newspaper, but I get the newspaper delivered to my home. I read the newspaper. No one does anymore. My sons are online. They don't read the newspaper. So now even the newspaper guys and gals got a big problem. If they don't get their clicks up, they ain't getting paid. They ain't making nothing. And that's why I tell the newspaper guys, you better get a radio show, man. I encourage newspaper guys. I've said it. I put a lot of these newspaper guys on the radio. Me. I try to find the sharp newspaper guys and put them on the radio. I go, because if you ain't getting clicks, you ain't selling newspapers, man. No one's going to the Walmart or the gas station to buy a newspaper because you're writing in it, they are all now farmed out online. And now you gotta see who's clicking on what. If you get no clicks, you're not going to have a job. And if you don't have a radio show and you don't have a TV show, you're out of work, buddy. So the clickbait merchants are going to get after Fernando right now. And they got to start now because they want to build this. They want to build this with Fernando. I don't. I mean, I think he's going to be our quarterback. I think he's going to be the number one pick. I think it's a lock. But you need people on the other side to fill in the embrace debate. You can't have 95% of media saying Fernando, doing memes of Fernando and dancing to some songs by ABBA. That gets old pretty quick. So you need people on the other side. Republicans, Democrats, conservatives, liberals, whatever it is, you need people on both sides, and then they fight, and they fight dirty. So that's what I see with 30 years in radio, and before that, years in business as a stockbroker. I think I know what I'm talking about in any room with any group of people. And what's about to happen now is that they're not going to leave this guy alone. They're going to look for the wart on Lincoln's face. They're going to look for the one thing that makes him look like he's not dependable, he's not good enough, he's not perfect. We don't need anybody perfect. Before the show began, I was out in the parking lot. I was talking to a buddy of mine who's in the NFL, and we were talking about Josh Allen. And he goes, you remember when Josh Allen came into the league from Wyoming? I go, yeah. He goes, you remember his completion percentage? I go, yeah, it was really bad. He goes, yeah, it was really bad. And he goes, I was at his first ever game in Baltimore in the rain. And they didn't play him. They played Nathan Peterman. Remember him? Because they didn't want to play Josh Allen early. They didn't want to play him. They weren't sold on him, but they loved his arm talent. Sound familiar? And then they started putting Josh Allen in, and his first couple of games were really bumpy. And then by week 6 or 7, he started hurdling over people. And everyone was like, oh, my God, we got the guy. Oh, my God, we got the guy. We got him. Okay? Josh Allen was not Fernando. He wasn't Fernando at all. Josh Allen came out of Wyoming. Do you remember Wyoming playing in the college football playoff? Do you remember Wyoming tearing up Oregon's defense? No, he played at Wyoming. Clay, was UNLV playing Wyoming at that point in time?
Yes,
here in the mountain, they were doing that? Okay.
Yeah.
I get confused with the Mountain West. And I get confused. Was that the old Mountain West or the new Mountain West? Or this? That was the Mountain West, right?
Yeah, it was the Mountain West, and they did play at Sam Boyd Stadium.
Thank you. So we didn't get a chance to see Fernando play live here. We didn't get a chance. So the point I wanted to make today in the monologue is this. Get ready for the haters to come. Get ready. They come at me sometimes. I don't snap the ball. I don't fumble it. I don't play, and they come at me. So I wanted to own the Fernando topic on my platforms and say, there's only one way this thing gets screwed up. There's only one way this doesn't happen. And I got to get in line with that decision if it happens. I can't fight it. What am I going to do? What do you want me to do? Game of Thrones, get burned by the dragon? That's not going to happen here. The only way we in the Raider Nation don't get Fernando is if they trade out of the pick. That's it. That's what I wanted to get to today. There's not a better quarterback. There's not a better player. There's not a better defensive player. There's not a better offensive lineman. There's not a better player than Fernando. He's the Heisman Trophy winner. Forget about this national championship game. If he has a bad game, he's the best player in the country. He's battle-tested. He's got the character. He's the pick. He's the pick. Now, I'm not going to say send the card in. FedEx the card to Pittsburgh now. I'm not going to be a clickbait guy. But I think you'll understand where I stand with this guy. But I have to leave the door open for a number of reasons. Number one, I got to do radio shows up until mid-April. I just can't come in here every day and go, Fernando. I'll be done by Wednesday of this week. I'll have nothing left. So I'm not going to do that. But what I'll do is the only other way he's not the quarterback of the Raiders is if the Raiders decide they get an offer they can't refuse. That's it. I don't know what that offer could be. The last couple of years, 3 first-round picks, 3, was not good enough to get Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels. I don't think anybody's going to offer 4 first-round picks for Fernando. I think the max of that ceiling will be 3. The Jets are the obvious team that would want Fernando Mendoza for a completely new culture change in New York. And for those who think the Raiders need a culture change, fair enough, if you think they need a culture change. But Tom Brady's a pretty high culture in the history of the NFL, and he's in the Raider organization. The Jets don't have a Tom Brady floating around New Jersey sitting in meetings. John Spytek and Tom Brady, if they get a call from the Jets, and the Jets want to offer 3 first-round picks plus a player, I would turn that down. I would turn it down because that would be admitting that the Jets will have an opportunity to have the next great quarterback and the Raiders passed on him. I wouldn't do that. But I'm not as sharp as John Spytek and Tom Brady on draft compensation. So 3 first-round picks and another pick, a player, could be too much to give up on. It just might be. And if that happens, I'll support the organization. I don't agree with it, but I'm going to go to work. I'm going to go there and see what they do with 3 or 4 picks and how they're able to do that and maybe rebrand the franchise with a whole bunch of different players. But I am 99.6% against that. I would not pick up the phone, but then again, you got to pick up the phone. But I would not engage in any conversation to not take Fernando Mendoza because I've seen it all. I've been doing this a long time. I know talent. I know quarterbacks. I've watched them all. There are quarterbacks that are failing that I like a lot. I think Justin Herbert is a hell of a quarterback. He hasn't won. Go watch the Elway documentary. Go watch the Elway documentary on Netflix. Watch the first 40 minutes of that. You would have thought Elway would have never played in the NFL, went and played for the Yankees with the heat he was getting. But the point I wanted to make today is for anybody who doubts me, you have the right to doubt me. You don't have to agree with everything. But if you doubt me and say, well, you're the guy who got behind Geno. No. They hired Geno. I worked for the team and worked for you on the radio, and I wanted Geno to do well. I never said, go get Geno. Go get him. That's the guy you got to go get. Nor would I ever say that about Gardner Minshew, nor would I ever say that about Jimmy Garoppolo. I would never say that about him. I am saying, looking right at you, go get Fernando. Don't overthink it. And that's what I tie to my business life. You buy a stock, hold it. Don't sell it. Don't overthink it. Don't sell it. The market's going to crash, come back, hold it. If it's a good company, hold the stock. Yeah, you might be able to trade it for a couple of points, but just hold. This is a buy and hold. This is the best example of an IPO, an initial public offering in the stock market. You know it's coming out. It's going to trade. It's going to trade. It's going to be Google, Tesla, Amazon, whatever it's going to be, Starlink. It's coming out. Buy it and don't look. Just buy it. Sock it away and build around that IPO. Now, when the IPO comes out, normally there's a flurry of trading. The stock will go up maybe 50%, 70%. Everybody who got in, the institutions, will sell it because they'll have a profit for their portfolio. They'll have a profit. They'll sell it. Then the stock will come down again, and then you could buy the same stock that you didn't get at the IPO. I can't tell you how many times I've called my broker, one of my best friends, can we get any of this stock? And he goes, nah, not really. I might be able to get you 100 shares. I go, just get it. Well, no, he says, no, it's going to go up and then we'll buy it after the IPO. I said, no, you missed my point. Buy it on the IPO, no matter what it is. I want to buy a little bit of it, and then we'll see if it goes up and down and I'll buy more. That's what you do with Mendoza. Broker calls you, says, I got Fernando Mendoza stock. The stock's going to begin trading at the end of April. How much do you want? I say, buy it all. Buy it all. How much can you get me? I can only get you 500 shares. Do it. Well, I can only get you 200 shares. Do it. And then call me after the stock opens and it's trading, and I'll buy more. Don't talk yourself out of great things in life. I'm not the analogy radio guy, but it's like buying a house. You're looking around with your wife or your partner. You finally find the house you like. Oh, man, I kind of like to save 18 grand. Are you nuts? Go buy the house. Your kids are going to love it. It's got a pool in the backyard, got a good school. What are you going to do? Look for a better house? You can, but that house might not come along again. This is an opportunity that the Raiders have. The only way they talk themselves out of this deal is that they get an offer they cannot refuse. And if they get that offer and they can't refuse it, then we have a real debate, embrace debate topic. We have nothing now, nothing. But what the topic will be is if they draft day, or draft week, we find out that the Jets are offering 4 first-round picks, 3 or a player, and the Raiders go from 1 to 2. They don't go from 1 to 16. They go from 1 to 2. So they're going to get the second best player in the draft. They might even get Dante Moore, plus have 3 more first-round picks. And then the debate begins. That's the debate. But before that, don't overthink it, man. Take it from me. I've been in that building since it opened. I was in that building doing games during COVID when you couldn't get in. I've been waiting for an opportunity like this just as long as you have. I was not in love with Mendoza when the season started. Really didn't know much from him. Remember just a sliver at Cal. Was impressed with him during the year. I'm super impressed now. I don't see that changing. But you always got to leave a little crack in the door. You always got to leave an opportunity to change your mind. And I've been known to change my mind. But remember, you haven't heard me on Raiders radio, maybe ever, and I don't recall, and I'm going to give myself heat for this, Clay. I'm going to give myself heat. I don't recall exactly what I thought of Jamarcus Russell, other than he was great. But I don't recall banging the drum, and I've had listeners listening to me that long. What I will tell you, which is similar with Jamarcus and Mendoza, which is similar, is that everybody in the league wanted Jamarcus number 1. 10 teams did. Al Davis knew that. Al Davis had to take him number 1. There were 10 teams. This is fact, not fiction, because I knew the GM at the time. I knew the guy who was in the room. And there were 10 teams in the NFL that wanted that Jamarcus Russell pick. 10 teams would have traded or taken that pick. And if he wasn't taken number 1, he was a lock to go number 2. Now, what we didn't know about Jamarcus at the time, which we know about Fernando, is that Jamarcus had issues in his personal life. The purple drank, right? A couple other things, but he wasn't mature. Should there have been a more vetted process to go down to Baton Rouge and vet him and his family in the South and say, who do you hang out with and that? That's something that's for another conversation. I don't know exactly. But they wanted Jamarcus to do well, and then Jamarcus held out, wanted more money, and then the wheels came off. And he had a lot of personal problems. No one sees that with Mendoza. No one sees that with Fernando Mendoza at all, for pretty obvious reasons. I had another buddy give me a comparison to Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is probably one of the greatest leaders in college football history, on the Mount Rushmore. He won 2 national championships and the Heisman Trophy. Fought passes, ran for touchdowns, threw the ball well. If you go back to college, Tebow threw a lot of bombs that were caught 60 yards downfield that were on a rope. But he didn't have the fundamentals of Mendoza to play NFL quarterback. He had a lot of flaws on his delivery, his hitch, where the ball came out. A lot of people criticized Tebow because Tebow had a lot of mechanic flaws. Mendoza has none. He has none. Actually, none. And then I heard some people saying, well, Mendoza, it's too easy for him. He looks at his first option and the option's open. Oh, what are we going to do there? We're going to yell at him because he throws to the guy who's open and hits him in stride? So that's where we're at on this. That's the monologue. I thought that's a good one. Clip that one and save that one. And if I'm wrong, you know where to find me. What was I wrong with? I said I would not trade Mendoza under any circumstance. I'd take him number 1 today. Today is January 12th, 2025. I hope that there's not a catastrophic injury. I hope there isn't something personally that comes up that we're not aware of. But as of today, from all the vetting that has been done, from Kirk Signetti to Indiana to the NCAA to the college playoff committee, everybody seems to know what I just said. You'd be lucky to have a guy like this. We have been very lucky, even though the GMs did not survive, very lucky that we got Ashton Genty, who some people think that was a reach. I don't. And we got Brock Bowers. We got Bowers and Genty. Now we could have Mendoza. Okay, that's the triple triangle of the future of the Raiders. I think the majority of Raider Nation would take that in a heartbeat. I think the majority of Raider Nation would take those three going forward right out of the gate and say, all day long. Agree or disagree with me? 702-365-9200. Mark Anderson joins us coming up from the AP, and then I'm pretty open on the phones. I got 3 up, 3 down from last night. I'm going to shred. I am going to shred the Chargers. I'm going to shred the Chargers. I'm going to get more views than I did on my Mendoza monologue. And the Mendoza monologue was brought to you by Modelo, proud partner of the show. Doesn't that feel like a great fit? Modelo and Mendoza. Just saying. Just saying, Clay. It seems like, I don't know if the guy sips beer or not, but I know I love a cold beer. I think a nice fit would be Mendoza and Modelo, but that's just me. Jump on in. Hope you enjoyed the monologue. That's 30 minutes uninterrupted, one voice with the great Clay Baker with me. Jump on in here and give me your opinion on it. If you want to get into the playoffs, we got a big game tonight. No one's giving Pittsburgh a chance. How is nobody giving Pittsburgh a chance? They never lose on Monday night. Tomlin doesn't lose on Monday night. Rodgers doesn't lose on Monday night. I mean, what are we thinking here? Or is Houston that good? And the 49ers, I see some of them in the chat. Yes, they're an empire. What a win for the Niners in Philly.
It just doesn't happen very often with the Raiders when they're actually selecting and extending their draft picks. I've gone down this rabbit hole so many times. I mean, I just really quickly rattled
Papa Meach.
worth of first round picks. And how many did I stop on that maybe or yes? Like 2, 3, maybe 4, right? Not many. It's not healthy. That's the biggest problem. You've got to be able to hit on these guys.
Unnecessary Roughness with your boy Q. Weekdays at 2.
Boyd Gaming is the official and exclusive
What'd you think of that monologue, man? That was pretty aggressive.
Stadium. Bring your friends. Have some fun. Always bet on black. Visit their 10 casinos across the
Man, no quarterback, no top coach. I would agree with that.
Is an official space of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo Especialis, a rich, flavored Pilsner style lager, delivering a crisp.
Yep, the Mendoza monologue. Thank you. Thank you, Rob.
Las Vegas sleeps.
Oh, hope you had a good weekend. I watched the Golden Globes. Yes, I watched it on delay. I love movies, so I'm going to watch the Golden Globes. Clay, did you watch the Golden Globes? You did not. Oh, and please, some heavy Bob Weir music today. Heavy. If you can, Bob Weir, Grateful Dead, Dead and Company, all show, please. I want to do, I can't believe I didn't get Bob Weir into the monologue. That was my fault.
On such a big laugh. Online.
That was my fault.
style coal fire.
Well, the Packers are trying to keep LaFleur as the head coach. Clay, are you interested? Would you be interested in Matt LaFleur if he was available?
Yep.
You would be. Move him to the top of the list? Yeah. Yeah.
I heard he has good head coaching.
Yeah. No, I'm talking Matt LaFleur at Green Bay. The Green Bay head coach. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I love guys like that.
Excellence. Toyota Mall in Henson or online at FindyToyota.com.
When you are injured, knowing that someone has your
Charger's going to charge her, Ryan. Charger's going to charge her.
3 decades.
No doubt. Jason, Mark Anderson's next.
father.
Anderson, bottom of the hour.
Yep, we can dial him now. We'll get him up.
Where they cast Hardy Brothers. And we have your back.
Brothers win.
Big D. Hamnet. Never heard of it. I'm not going to go see Hamnet, but I saw the Leo DiCaprio movie with Sean Penn and Benicio del Toro. That was an outstanding movie. Outstanding. So much so that I don't remember the title of it, the weird title, but it was a very good movie. The Golden Globe, Clay, had a category for Best Podcast. And who won? Amy Poehler. Ooh, Amy Poehler beat her ex-husband out, Will Arnett. I listen to Smart List because I like their guests. Who I want is I don't know who I want as the head coach. I've been leaning towards Kubiak. I'd like an offensive coach. Yeah, Nikki Glazer was great. Snow Raider, great. I'm interested in an offensive head coach who's young. You know. No, I don't like the Robert Saleh, Mike McDaniel grouping. I'm not. The rough one, I don't think it's rough. The one that's going to be interesting is Kevin Stefanski. Because if Kevin Stefanski gets the job because he's an offensive coach, which he is, you're taking a guy with a career below 500 record, right? And a guy who just got fired. That sounds like a lot of recent Raider head coaches below a 500 record who got fired. That didn't go over well with Raider Nation. But if Stefanski blows everybody away, if Stefanski blows everyone away with his ability to work with Mendoza, I mean, I would say, okay. I mean, what else would I say? Can everybody please hit like and subscribe? We're rolling now, man. We got to get this to 10,000. We're over 8. And we have real subscribers, too. I got some buddies of mine who have like 70 or 80,000 subscribers, and they don't even get anywhere the live reaction we get. So I want to thank everybody who subscribed, man, because you matter, man. These aren't bots, man. Right? These aren't bots. Fabian isn't a bot. He's real. He's a human. These are real people here. Tell Papa Meach to hold. I'd like to have him. If he's there.
Hey, Papa Meach, we have a guest here, and we'll talk right after that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show. Brought to you by M Resort Spa Casino, the official hotel of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Because I want the diamond, if you don't lay them down.
To the right. Here's the snap back. And the throw. Fernando goes to the end zone. Touchdown! Omar Cooper touches it with another brilliant play. And the throw by Fernando Mendoza was dead on the money.
Coach, I know you're thinking about the next game. When will you stop and appreciate how special and how historic all of this is going to be?
I'm really not thinking about the next game. I'm thinking about cracking open a beer.
Ooh, Kurt Signetti. What about him? Ooh. JT back with you. We're paying tribute to Bob Weir today. The front man with Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead, who I've seen so many times. Saw Jerry and Bobby in the old Dead. I just saw Dead and Company. The last time I saw Bobby was a magical show with Dead and Company with John Mayer. So Bob Weir, rest in peace. He brought joy to millions. That's hard to do in life as a human, to bring joy to millions. Bob Weir, may he rest in peace. All right, we get the great Mark Anderson from the AP, who's kind enough to join us. I did 30 minutes just now on Mendoza. I don't think you overthink it. I think it's obvious. It's Captain Obvious stuff, unless there's something I don't see, Mark, which would be what? An offer that the Raiders can't refuse? How do you see it?
Yeah, I'm completely with you. I think they've been winning a quarterback for so long, and no one knows if he's going to be a star, but he could be. He certainly had an incredible season and postseason. So I think you go get him. I would keep the phone open though, in case. I mean, if someone comes at you with an opportunity that you just can't turn down, then you definitely have to consider it. But I think your mindset going in is that's your guy.
Yeah, I agree with you. And do you think in the modern day of the draft, as we're dealing with now, and look, someone made the Mitchell Trubisky comp as Chicago went up to get him and gave up a lot. And that was for the second pick. We're not talking second rounder. When you look at this era of football now, where a quarterback can instantly change a franchise, is it fair to assume that several teams would call the Raiders looking to make an offer to get Mendoza? More than one?
I would think so. Yeah, I'd be surprised if this Tech doesn't get a number of calls on that side, all the way leading to even on draft day. So, I think a GM's not doing his job. For at least for a team who needs a quarterback, if you don't make that call, you have to at least inquire. So yeah, I think so. And if I'm the Raiders, though, I put a pretty high price up there. I don't, I would not be in any hurry to make any kind of move.
Yeah, Mark Anderson's our guest. I think the standard high price is 3 first-round picks. That's the standard. The Raiders couldn't get Jaden Daniels for 3 first-round picks. The Commanders weren't selling. They weren't taking the call. So I think the same thing would go for Mendoza. 4 first-round picks, we're not aware of that. I don't see that happening, but it could. Where do you stand on the head coach coming off the weekend, noticing that there's so many vacancies? And if the Raiders don't act sooner than later, they might lose out on a great candidate because they didn't pull the trigger. How long could this take?
I mean, there's the NFL mandated process, and they, that I think that slows it down for every team to some extent. I think they're actually moving fairly fast. They had 5 interviews last week, something like that.
Yeah.
They've already got 5 scheduled for this week. So
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good. The one name that hasn't appeared surprisingly is Brian Flores. I kind of thought they might target him, but I think ideally you want an offensive coach. Especially if you get Mendoza, you want someone to build with him. So that's what I would lean heavily on as an offensive coach. And I think probably you go get a coordinator. You hope for another Ben Johnson or Liam Cohen type situation. That's what you would like to have. But it can be a crapshoot. You never really know until the person gets in the chair. And let's say they do get Mendoza, it may take a couple of years. We saw that with Caleb Williams. Last season he looked like semi-bust, and this year he's got consistency issues. But how many quarterbacks have a higher upside than he does? So you may get something like that where it may take a couple of years. But I think Ed Graney had an interesting comment. They should make a call to Kirk Cincinnati, and why not? I don't think they'll get him, but it doesn't hurt to try.
Yeah, I agree with that. Mark Anderson joins us. I don't think it's realistic to get Cignetti. I don't. I think Cignetti probably wants to stay at Indiana. He's got a massive recruiting class coming in, a lot of commitments, but definitely worth making a phone call to do that pairing. No doubt about it. Ian Rappaport just reported before I came on that Jesse Minter is the next interview for the Raiders. So Ian Rappaport just put this out here about an hour ago. And look, I'm all for that too, but I don't think they need a defensive coordinator. Rappaport said the Raiders are now requesting DC Jesse Minter for the head coach interview. Sources said they'll add them to his growing list. I just think it's a really tough time to go defensive coordinator because I don't know who's coming back from the defensive coaching staff. I would assume not many. And I think you can get a really good defensive coordinator secondhand, but it's hard to get a young offensive coordinator who could be a head coach. There's not many of those guys out there in the cycle.
You're the defensive guy, then the problem you run into is you still got to have to hire an OC to coach Mendoza, and a good one. And yeah, I just think that's. I mean, you could do it. I mean, Dan Campbell obviously did it with the Lions. Look at a couple of years they Cohen coordinator last season and before the Canales. So it can be done. It's not easy. That's why I'm with you. I think offense. It doesn't mean you 100% have to fire an offensive coordinator. You could have someone come in and lead away, and you're thinking this guy's the next, Mike Vrabel or something, and that's you go get. But yeah, I think if there's a tie or anything close to a tie between two coaches, I think you take the opposite background.
You've been doing this a long time, and you have access to the Raiders. You're right there at all the press conferences. Where do you put this as a unique time? The Raiders have only been here for 6 seasons, now going on 7. It hasn't been 30 or 40 years in Vegas. But you know the Raiders before they got there. How do you describe the decision that's in front of them with the pick and having a coach in vacancy and how they have to nail both?
Critical time for a number of reasons. If you just want to compare them to the other pro teams, they're winning. You know, the Golden Knights are in first place, 4-game winning streak. The Aces have won 3 of the past 4 WNBA championships. The A's aren't in town yet, but if you look at the roster they're building, they're trending in the right direction to be a really good team by the time they get here. It sounds like the NBA is going to make a decision this year, possibly to award Las Vegas for the team. So, I mean, the NFL is always going to be king, but there are other things to do in Las Vegas, and there are other teams to support, and you don't want to be the one team that's not getting it done. So this is a crucial time, and it's not often you get the number 1 overall pick, and we know what happened last time they got it.
Yeah.
This time they need to get it right. They need to get the coach right. They didn't get the coach right last year, or really the year before. But they need to get it right. And I said to you during the season when it says the problem is I think they've kind of run out of hope, and I felt that at the time. I think they have some hope now. They have legitimate hope now. That number 1 pick, I think, is attractive to a lot of coaches, and so I think they can. I think they have a great chance to get it right this time, and they need to get it done.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure to talk to you, Mark. We'll talk to you a couple of weeks from now before we head to Super Bowl. Thank you.
Sounds good, JT. Thanks for having me on.
Got it. Mark Anderson, what a great journalist he is. So he agrees with me. What I came up with in the monologue isn't earth-shattering. I just wanted to frame the monologue into the fact that the clickbait guys are coming. That was the whole focus of what I wanted to open the show with, is that there are people lurking for attention, lurking for clicks. I'm not lurking for attention. I got my wife and sons and my parents and a ton of friends. I can't keep count of. I'm not lurking for a click. Not. So I just want them to get it right. I just want to get them right. I'm sick of not having it right. I want to see fun football. I'm a season ticket holder. I want to see fun football and good games. We don't have that quarterback now in the building. Aiden's okay. Gino had his chance. I'm pro Gino. Gino came in 40. How many times did I say 70%, 4,300 yards, Clay? I mean, it's easy. It's like I got in the rhythm. 4,300 yards, Pro Bowl, 70%. That's how we got the job. That wasn't bad. That was a decent resume.
It was one that you could say, in comparison to what you've seen last couple of years, Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, you would take that all day.
All day. Wasn't my choice. They didn't run that by me. Gino had a terrible season. He did. A lot of that had to do with the personnel on the offensive line. But a lot of it was on Gino. He was so subpar this year, it was shocking to most people that know football and seen Gino play well. Papa Meach in Colorado, good to hear from you. What's happening?
Boy, JT, you're in trouble, and I'll tell you why. Because your monologue, talk about a number 1 pick, you won't be able to do better than that in all of 2026. A masterful masterpiece. I mean, that was brilliant, as far as I'm concerned. I really, really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not 100% sold on Mendoza. I am 1,000,000,000% sold on Mendoza. Holy crap. I didn't know anything about this guy. I really didn't. I watched him for the very first time. I heard about him, and he was good, but I'd never seen him before, and I thought, gee, I got to sit in a job interview with Mark Davis and Tom Brady and JT the Brick and Clay Baker and everybody. We were all in the job interview on Friday night, and man, did he pass with flying colors. The things that I was impressed with him was, number one, everything really, but I loved how he seemed to be able to kind of already in the future read the defenses and know kind of what they were up to and read them really well and quickly as the ball was snapped. I loved his throws. I mean, they were picture perfect throws. Now, I'm not naive. NFL's faster. It's going to be a different thing. But man, this is an exciting guy, JP. And I think that I don't care if they give it 15 first-round draft picks. I know I'm being facetious there, but no, don't take anybody. I mean, we've got to take this guy. I mean, it's crucial because we can't look back and make mistakes. These last 2 years, almost. I think we all lost a few years of our lives having to watch this team last 2 years. So I agree 1,000,000%. It's Mendoza all the way. And also, one last thing, JT. I made a short little video and I gave it to Clay for you guys to look at. So please look at it.
Yeah, I'll share it. Just send it to me. Send it to me on social media, man. I'd love to share that.
Oh, no, it's not worth sending.
Okay. I'll look at it either way. I appreciate that. This hour brought to you by Tomorrow Aesthetics for Men, specializing in men's neurotoxins. That's skincare, hair restoration, weight loss, Botox if you choose. Anything you want that's going to make you feel better, they have it all lined up. Explore Tomorrow's complete range of treatments. I was there this morning. Got there at 9:15. I was done at 10. 45 minutes, a med spa experience created exclusively for men. Real, fresh, like you had a good night's rest. And I'm telling you, I need a good night's rest. With the schedule I had this past year in 2025, Tomorrow Aesthetics for Men was perfect for me. They will find something that you need with just one consultation. Go check it out. Trusted by the actual customers, including myself. Tomorrow Aesthetics for Men, TMRWformen.com. I'm really excited to be with them because it's been relaxing, refreshing, and you need that. If you're a guy, there's men's spas out there now that can change you. All right, we'll recap it here on the other side quickly when we come back. Hour number 2 is wide open. So I opened up the phones today for the Mendoza monologue. I'd like to get your opinion on it. If you feel he's a lock, or do you feel there's any window today in January that can change your opinion? 702-365-9200, Raider Nation Radio. Yeah, I know I was a little late on that, so I don't know what you... Yeah. And dude, just tell me to get out. Sometimes I lose track of the clock, and I'll just get out. I like to eat off a lot, chew up a lot, but we can do that. All right.
Don't miss the action.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Want a better claim?
I think that's it's so different than everything else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not shaving in the off season much, but I have to. Yes, I will hydrate here at the top of the hour, Kenny Clark. Thank you. I hydrated for a few days with some Cabernet Sauvignon, a little Cabernet over the holiday weekend. Brooks Koepka back on the PGA Tour. Man, what a great move for him. How much money did he steal from Liv?
We'll come back in 30 with the Mendoza touch. And
talk about game changers. Like in sports, business has all its MVPs, and Ford Country in the Valley Auto Mall is country. You'll get VIP experience.
So when we come back, we'll have 3.5.
Exceptional savings on your favorite Fords like the F-150, Explorer, and the Bronco. Visit Ford Country and the Valley Auto Mall or online at FordCountryHenderson.com. Ford Country, where the difference is real.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show. Brought to you by PT's, the best happy hour in town, 5 to 7 p.m. and midnight to 2 a.m.
What's this?
Maybe going to hell in a bucket. At least I'm enjoying the ride. At least I'm enjoying the ride. Ride.
Checking down an excellent three. And here's the snap back. And Fernando again looks to throw it out. Wait.
Clay and I just came up with something incredible, working with a guy I've been working with since the 90s. Clay, we now own Mendoza Monday. That's my show. Now, you can have it, but you have to give me credit for it. So you can have Mendoza Monday, but did I get it first?
It's fine.
Thank you. It's Mendoza Monday. I own that.
It's trademark, right?
It's trademarked on the JT the Brick Show. We are going to do Mendoza Monday. Every Monday, some feature with Mendoza. Very quickly, we've got a short segment. I'll be back here at the top of the hour. Sometimes I eat a little bit too much over in regards to time on the clock. I want to say one other thing about Bob Weir and the Dead. I don't know. I think I got into music as a young kid, but I had two younger sisters who weren't listening to what I was listening to, right? They were listening to Sean Cassidy, and they were listening to Andy Gibb. And I was listening to Rush, Blue Oyster Cult, Leonard Skinner, Molly Hatchet. And then the Grateful Dead entered my life because I had one buddy. We all had one buddy who was into the Dead. And when I'll never forget the story, I graduated high school when I was 17. My birthday was in November, right? So I graduated high school when I was 16, but I went to college when I was 17. And my summer in high school, I saw the Grateful Dead at Madison Square Garden. Look up that show. And I remember being in the back of the floor. I think the ticket was $9 or $19. And once I saw the Dead, I was sold. I was like, this is good for me. People dancing in the aisles, people having fun. And then the next thing you know, I'm traveling to Saratoga to see the Dead and seeing the Dead out in the Bay. I saw Bob Dylan open up for the Dead. They had a tour, Dylan and the Dead. And I wasn't a big Jerry. I love Jerry. But Bobby kind of was more my speed. I love Bobby Weir. I love the energy he had when he was younger. And at the end of Bobby's life, he didn't have a lot of energy. That's why John Mayer came in. John Mayer came in with a lot of energy. But Bobby was brilliant. I can't tell you how many times that I was at a Dead show, and I went to a few Dead and Company shows. The last time I saw him was at the Sphere. And Bobby Weir was rocking. And I was happy. I'm going to miss Bob Weir. I thought there would be another Dead and Company run coming up, and we'd have another show to go to. I had buddies of mine who were so bummed out that they never saw Dead and Company at Sphere. I said, you had plenty of time to come. You had time to come. So I'm happy I was able to put that in my brain lockbox and have great memories with Bob Weir. May he rest in peace.
Was an official surface of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Hey, can everybody please subscribe right now and hit like? There's not enough likes in there. We got 893 people. Let's subscribe, and hit like, please. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good hour. Good hour. All right, we have the three ups and down.
Yes.
I probably want to get that three up the row because I remember it's funky last night.
Yes. It starts with DeMarcus Robinson.
Yeah.
The Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium.
Marcus Robinson.
Fun, but all
Let's get going with him. 6 catches. One touchdown. Good. To help the Niners.
Grimaldi's is now my favorite thing in Vegas. Only at Grimaldi's can get their famous New York style coal fire brick oven pizza. Grimaldi's has 4 locations in the Vegas Valley.
Marcus Robinson. Let's get going with him. 6 catches, 111 yards. One touchdown to help the Niners defeat the defending champs in Philadelphia. Here's the montage of his highlights.
Already in the shotgun on second and 11, takes the snap, drop back. Once in 11,
understands challenges of a motorcycle accident case. At Paul Paddle Law, we'll guide you through the journey of recovering physically, emotionally, and financially. Check us out at paulpaddlelaw.com or call us at 702-707-3000.
This is JT for Las Vegas's premier cigar lounge, La Casa Cigars and Lounge at Tivoli Village. You're going to be blown away like I was. When I stepped into their walk-in humidor, over 500 cigar labels to choose from. Plus, they feature one of the largest whiskey, scotch, and bourbon selections anywhere in the valley with live local entertainment 7 nights a week. Great place to watch football games. Check it out at lacasacigars.com.
Open a Clark County Credit Union high-yield bonus checking account and earn one of the highest rates available just for using your checking account. Plus, bonus checking offers peace of mind, unrivaled security, and smart savings. There are so many benefits to banking at CCCU. Isn't it about time you became a member? Open a bonus checking account today and start earning more interest. Because if somebody's making money off your checking account, shouldn't it be you? That's privately insured by American Share Insurance. Hey, Jeff, how's the new job working out?
Really sucks. Terrible boss, and the paycheck is even worse. I gotta get a new job.
Fuck you.
What? Harrison.
You should check out CDO trading.
At least I'm enjoying the ride. Oh, we'll be going to hell in a bucket, baby. But at least I'm enjoying the ride. All right. Hour number 2. We're wide open on the phones. I think people are more intimidated to call me. That might be it. I just think people might think I'm just too aggressive, man. That's okay. Yeah, we need some of the bricklayers to call in, man. Have some opinions. I got to do 3 hours tonight. I'll have opinions.
Participating locations. Not U.S. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Modelo is an official cerveza of the Las Vegas Raiders and the JT the Brick Show. Modelo Especial is a rich, full-flavored Pilsner-style lager, delivering a crisp, refreshing taste, brewed with fighting spirit since 1925.
Australia's biggest sport hits Vegas. Rugby League Las Vegas, Saturday, February 28th at Allegiant Stadium. 3 games, Aussie vibes, 1 epic ticket. Lock in your seat now at nrl.com/Vegas. Rugby League Las Vegas.
I'm surprised we haven't heard from Rugby League. We do a lot with them. Do you do anything for them, Clay?
And relaxing, luxurious amenities while catching every play. Massive 143-foot screen. Reserve today at circalasvegas.com.
Anybody on hold?
Listen to the show. Stream us live. Listen to past podcasts 24/7 at lvsportsnetwork.com. This is Raider Nation Radio, 8:20 a.m. KRLD Las Vegas. It's the JT the Brick Show.
You know, obviously it means a lot to me being a part of the Silver and Black alone. You know, the history, I've said it a million times. I feel like I was meant to be a Raider. I love being here.
Your Silver and Black home to sound off for over 25 years.
Just amazing, opportunity, great community here, and, great fan base. And so I'm expecting a lot of fun, a lot of energy, a lot of great time.
It's going to be all about competition. There's going to be no easy games.
And now here's JT the Brick.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour number 2 of the show, JT in Vegas. Hope you had a great weekend. Wild card weekend is over, but we have a game tonight. We got a Monday night game between the Steelers and the Houston Texans. Everybody seems to be on the Texans in this game. Don't sleep on Pittsburgh. They got Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers, Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Jalen Ramsey. I mean, they are not bums. They are not bums. Let's go. We got a live stream going on YouTube. One of our biggest turnouts today. Got a lot of people watching us. You can be a part of that. We welcome you in on YouTube at JT the Brick YT. Please subscribe for free. And I'm going to dive into a lot of bigger NFL stories this hour. Every Monday, we're going to lead with Mendoza. Mendoza Mondays here on the flagship. So every Monday, we'll have something to talk about with Mendoza. They're going to be Mondays. I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be out of town, whatever. But Mendoza until April. As if you missed my monologue, you'll be able to find it. It'll be podcast up on LV Sports Network, and you can watch it on the YouTube in the first hour. I think it's all but a lock, but things can change. Things can change. And, you can look at some of the people who are here, and you can wonder what's going to happen. And you're going to wonder what's going to happen overall. There aren't many people that would say pass on Mendoza. And the people that think we should pass on Mendoza, if you have a reason to pass on Mendoza, let us know. I don't know. If you think there is a reason to pass on Mendoza, I need to know. And maybe you have something that's right. Maybe you think there's something smart on passing on Mendoza. I spent a half an hour in my opening monologue trying to figure out why you would pass on him. And I couldn't come up with one idea other than the fact that we are sitting here looking at more picks. There could be more picks coming, and those picks could be coming heavy in a trade. That's it. Other than that, if I missed anything else, if I didn't unearth every rock and boulder, let me know. Why would you not take Mendoza at this point? You would take Mendoza and you'd move on to the second round. What I would do, and I know that could change, is I would take Mendoza with the first pick overall, and then I would package a couple of our third and fourth round picks and move up into the first round, and I'd go get an offensive lineman starter, not a developmental guy, pure starter, a guy who will start as a rookie on the offensive line. And that's the one thing I didn't get a chance to really dive into. I didn't get a chance to really go crazy with in the monologue. Everything is contingent on the Raiders spending money in free agency on offensive linemen. Everything's based around that. I'd still take Mendoza with a crap offensive line, but I don't think the Raiders are crap. I think the Raiders got some good offensive linemen. They do. They have some good players. But I wouldn't go into this next upcoming season with pretty much anyone on that offensive line playing as starters. Would you? Jackson Powers-Johnson, if you want to move him back to center, or if you want to keep him at guard, I'm all right with that. Colton Miller's been hurt a lot. I'm a Colton guy. I like Colton. See him in the building a lot. I like Colton. Nothing I would say on the radio that I wouldn't say to Colton's face. But the Colton's missed a lot of time. So assume that we're going to have Colton Miller and Jackson Powers-Johnson. Clay Baker, is there any other offensive lineman that you watched this year, starter, backup, practice squad player, that you would pencil in as a starter next September other than Colton Miller and JPJ?
No.
Okay, thank you. No, you wouldn't have Dylan Parham as a starter, nor would I.
Nope.
You wouldn't have Rodgers as a starter, nor would I.
Yeah, I'd like to see Rodgers and Gray compete for starters.
Where would you put DJ Glaze?
Swing tackle.
Thank you. Swing, not starter.
If Gray can go and beat him out for right tackle.
How about you get an all-star right guard and don't have to worry about this?
I'd love that.
And then you could move DJ Glaze inside.
Spend that money. I'd love that. I would be overjoyed with that.
What do you do at center?
And you find one, you pull out the paychecks.
Okay.
Yeah, the checkbook will be ready. Very busy.
All right. So center and a right tackle, center, left guard, put JPJ back at center and get 2 new guards. I mean, there's options there, but it has to be done. It has to be done. Pay 3 elite linemen. I don't think that's possible to pay 3. What I would do is I would pay for 2 and get a very high draft pick who's really good. Really good. Like, you don't have to worry about this guy making the team or playing. That's the way I look at it there. I got a lot to say. I'm going to warm up on the Chargers. I put out a tweet last night. Let me go find it here. It'll only take a moment. Here it is. So I put this tweet out last night, and these are the things I'm trying to avoid. You know, I'm not great on X, right? I'm not. And I know that, but, you know, I could get better. So here was the tweet 17 hours ago that has 30,000 views. The Chargers remain one of the worst franchises in North American sports history. In the 60 years of the Super Bowl era, they remain one of the teams to never win the Lombardi Trophy. The Chargers continue to play their worst football when it matters most. Go look at those responses. Well, what about the Raiders? That had nothing to do with the Raiders. I don't wake up every day and think about the Raiders every time I talk. I don't. I have a history of being a sports fan. Some days I'm 90% Yankees. Some days I'm 60% Knicks. So everybody's saying, how dare you say that about a Chargers? What about your Raiders? And I said, no, the tweet had nothing to do with the Raiders. No, nothing to do with the Raiders. It has everything to do with the Chargers. So the Chargers, once again, played their worst football by far in the playoffs. Wow, that was good. That was really good. That made me feel good. The only thing that could make me feel better than that is one thing remaining. Buffalo goes into Denver and boat races them. I'm talking like 31-17 and just humiliates Denver. If we can come out of next week with the Chiefs not making the playoffs, the Raiders not making the playoffs, the Chargers not winning a playoff game, and the 1 seed Denver getting beat and not winning a playoff game, hallelujah. That is something, man. I might throw a New Year's Eve party at Grimaldi's and frame it February 1st. I mean, we need something big to happen here. We need Buffalo to go into Denver and spank them. But back to the Chargers again. Chargers are eventually going to win with Jim Harbaugh. They are. They might get to a Super Bowl. They should get to an AFC championship game. And that's a problem for us in the Raider Nation because they're going to do that. They're going to do that. And we're going to have to deal with that. But they didn't do it this year. And their whole plan disintegrated. Their whole plan of running the ball first to set up Justin Herbert has failed. Is there anybody on the radio other than me who's critical of Jim Harbaugh today? Or does everybody still have to kiss Jim Harbaugh's ass? Does everybody nationally have to kiss Jim Harbaugh's ass? I knew him when he got his first ever job in the NFL. Post-career. It was with the Raiders. That's the first time I met him. I would have loved to have seen him be the head coach of the Raiders 2 years ago. No problem with that. But is anybody allowed to tell the truth on Jim Harbaugh and what's happened to that team in Los Angeles? They are a choke job. They are an absolute choke job. Choke city, baby. Chargers are out. They've never done anything in your lifetime. They have been irrelevant on every stage of your life. They have been putrid and pathetic for most of your life, other than some exciting years in San Diego with Stan Humphries and Dan Fouts. That's it. They are built, the organization has been built to fail from the beginning of time when they came in. Period. And they're in LA, and they're subtenants to Stan Kroenke in a place called Rams House that gets more Raider fans than Ram fans, and the Chargers are irrelevant today, as they always are. Did they have a better year than the Raiders? Of course. Did they have a better roster than the Raiders? Of course. But big picture, the Chargers are the Chargers. And they're the same old Chargers of your dad and your grandparents. And we don't have to deal with any Charger crap today. They did nothing. They won as many playoff games as the Las Vegas Raiders, who won 3 games this year. So that party's over. But I do think they'll be back. I do think that they got some good players. And I think they're going to be a tough out in the division for the Raiders for quite some time. Quite some time. All right, let's get out to everybody. Appreciate everybody on hold. I'll get to everybody here. We start off with Stoner Dude, my buddy in Vegas.
San Diego Chokers of Los Angeles, man. I have to say I loved it more than anything. And yeah, JT, talking about root for the Bills, I've been rooting for Buffalo. They've been basically my playoff team for the past few years because I do love Josh Allen, and I love that gritty team. I would love to see them go there and beat the Broncos, of course, more than anything. Man, you were talking earlier about January, the best month of football in the whole entire year, man. What a way to great start the year. You got NFL playoffs, you got the college playoffs, and on Mendoza, man, I did call on Dante Moore last week, and I still like the kid. And I'll be honest, I was definitely rooting for him the other night. But boy, man, he just laid the whole team laid an egg. The Oregon Ducks, man, the mighty Ducks. I just can't even believe it. But Mendoza is just proving everybody that he's the best right now. I always say you don't go out and shoot somebody else unless they're better than what you have in front of you. And right now, you have to say, just like everybody else, right now Mendoza is the best going in front of us unless anything happens between now and April. Last thing real quick, on Bob Weir, JT, man, I used to travel. We're about the same age, same generation. The Grateful Dead was already old by the time I was even in my teens, in my 20s, and I used to go back and forth and travel to different cities just to go to the parking lot. And I used to go from Orange County to Oakland when the Raiders were still in LA, and ultimately I was there for the vibe and the party and I could do a half hour on the stories there alone. But ultimately when I first moved to Oakland and the Raiders came back and I saw that parking lot out there, and it reminded me of the Dad, man, because of the following, and that's why I named my band Raiderhead, and we used to play out in the parking lot all those years and stuff. So, man, I have to say, man, rest in peace to the great Bob Weir. He was the kid. He was the young one in the band, man. And to see him go like that, it just really puts everything into perspective as far as where we are in our lives and everything. But you'll never see another phenomenon like the Grateful Dead. Have a good one, JT.
Take care, Stoner dude. Always good to hear from you, especially with a rock and roll reference. And that's really important to me because, yes, I've seen Raiderhead. And he talks about it coming back full circle with that phone call quickly, if you don't mind. Two things about that phone call that hit home to me. Number one, my sons who are in the chat right now, my sons are building this YouTube for us. My sons will never experience anything. And Clay, I'll bring you in. Your son will never experience anything. And I don't want to say this because I want them to have what we had, but they won't have something like going to a Grateful Dead show. Now, you could like Drake and you could love a whole bunch of different artists. You're not going to get in our lifetime, Clay, the atmosphere of 60,000 people at a Dead show in the parking lot and what they're selling, tie-dye shirts and all that. It ain't going to happen. It's not happening with the Foo Fighters. It didn't happen with U2. It only happened with the Dead. Is that chapter closed forever?
Yeah, I think everything is cyclical. It'll come back and hopefully in their lifetime. But, but Coachella has great festivals. Yes. That's not the same thing at all.
No, I've been to Coachella a bunch, and Coachella is there's just something that some things we'll never see again, like the copy machine eventually, or the Polaroid camera. Right? Our new cameras are iPhone, and then the other thing about Bob Weir died at the age of 78. My dad's 87. Okay, my dad's 87, and I am racing to see him whenever I can. Like you're going to see me gone for a little bit. I'm going to be bolting back and forth to see my mom and dad, and my dad's 87 and Bob Weir passed at 78. How lucky am I to have a dad who's still around at 87? Because Bob Weir's kids are heartbroken today. I thought Bobby had many years left. I know he had some lung issues and what was happening with him. And I just thought Bobby was going to play for another 2-3 years. And the reason I met my wife is I went to a Stone show. If Keith Richards died 2 years before that Stone show, which was pretty good odds before that, I never would have met my wife. Never. Wouldn't have mattered at a grocery store, a gas station, or a concert. So sometimes it's important that these iconic people live because it brings people together. And Bob Weir, man, God, was he sure able to do that. He's something. Big D, yes, a bricklayer off the chat, my buddy in Walnut Creek.
Hey, JT, always good to talk to you. Chris and I, we go back there in the 80s. The stuff for decade after decade after decade. We've been waiting for this quarterback to show up. We got Big Al, tried to get John Elway. He got interfered with, passed on Marino, passed on Ben Roethlisberger, passed on Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Now we got this guy here who's a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer. I mean, he's beaten Ohio State, Alabama, and Oregon 3 weeks in a row. If he beats Miami, that's just an incredible run. He's having probably the second best college quarterback year since Joe Burrow for what he did in 2019. 5 games this year. He's thrown more TDs than incompletions. Think about that. That's incredible. And it just seems like his passes, especially in the red zone, in the end zone, the DBs never even get their hands on him. It's always just out of their reach. His touch passes are just perfect everywhere he puts them. So I just think it's just a no-brainer. I don't care what we get offered. We finally get that chance to get that guy, help us turn the corner, and get us to where we want to be. And one last thing, having that first pick also allows us the first pick in the second round. A lot of teams try to trade up for that, or we can use it to trade back into the first round. So there's a lot of options there. I think we just need to find that right coach, right OC, and just get with the triplets, Mendoza, Powers, and Jendi, and take off from there. Thanks a lot, brother.
All right, bro. Take care, Big D. Good to hear from you. Nice to see guys floating in from our chat, where we have 1,026 people in the chat. I don't know how many people are listening on terrestrial radio, a lot more, but it's nice to have 1,000 plus people watching us and listening to us. That means a lot to me. We're building something special. Big D made a great point. This organization passed on Ben Roethlisberger and Aaron Rodgers. Did you hear what I just said? We passed on Aaron Rodgers from Cal, and we passed on Ben Roethlisberger. And you want to pass on Mendoza? Are you crazy? I mean, come on. Now, if we did not pass on those guys, we wouldn't be in this situation. Wouldn't be in this situation. So again, I'm into this Captain Obvious crap. When it's really obvious, do the right thing. You know, I heard guys talking about this. If a really, really great looking gal walks up to you at a bar and you're single and wants your phone number, give her your phone number. Don't overthink it and look at your buddies and say, what does she mean? No, give her your phone number. You know, when something obvious happens that makes a lot of sense, get out of the way and don't screw it up. And I think that Tom Brady and John Spytek kind of know what they're doing. I believe that. They know what they're doing, but they got to play the game. They got to play the game. And playing the game is not telling everybody who you're taking in the first round at all. Playing the game is just taking phone calls from other people. Do that. And let's see what happens. Lewis in Vegas, Clay, if he's there, wants to pass on Mendoza. Is that true, Lewis? Why is that?
I want to thank you. I enjoy your show quite a bit. Not a Raider fan at all. I go back to the days when you were 100% radio caller. And if you know, you know, right?
Thank you.
With that said, JT, look, in this crazy world of analytics, the numbers should tell you that you don't take them. Sam Bradford comes to mind. Jamarcus Russell, Cam Newton. I think there's more huge flops at number one pick overall for quarterback than there are successes. Sure, John Elway's in there. The Manning brothers are in there. But I'm talking to you in this age of numbers, algorithms, and what have you. Whether you like it or not, the numbers are going to tell you to pass, right? You can't have it both ways. I'm scouting talent, and I'm analyzing numbers. It's either you go with analyzing numbers or you're scouting talent. Again, I'm not a Raider fan. I don't care. If it were up to me, I would trade this number one pick and 2 or 3 other number one picks and go out and try to get something more established.
Yes.
Lamar Jackson, find another. Hell, I would even try to go after Patrick Mahomes, even with the ACL. You know why? You get rid of your number one pick? Because if the theory is you're going to win, your picks are going to be low. And what does it matter that you're giving up number one picks? And I would try to build the offensive line. But this is just my opinion, coming from someone that lives in Vegas, someone that does not like the Raiders at all. But I really do appreciate the effort that the Raider fan has, that they look at everything so blindly and so positive.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I mean, I don't know if I'd say blindly. You know, I don't know if I'd say blindly. I think Raider fans over the decades want great things to happen. But when we look at exactly what's going on with this pick, I'm just saying don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Play the card in front of you. Be sharp. Like Art Manteras, who is one of the sharpest people to ever come through Las Vegas when it comes to Nevada bookmakers, connectors, people who brought people together, and he continues, and he checks in. Art, thanks a lot for joining us today. I really appreciate it. How are you?
Chris, thank you so much, JT. It's a pleasure to be on with you, and opportunity I've been waiting for a long time.
Well, tell me exactly what this project is, what you're doing right now, because so many people, and I've only had a few opportunities to meet you over the years, but everybody that I bumped into in this space of not only Las Vegas, growth, revenue, sports books, casino operators, think the world of you. What have you been doing and what's this new venture?
Thanks so much. That's great to hear. I packed it in a few years ago, and I've been traveling the world and now, but I did finally write and finish a book that I've had in mind for a long time. There's a great ghostwriter with me, Matt Markpack, and great publisher Gary Thornton with Harper Collins. And they put a lot of eggs in this basket, so they think the time is right, and they like the story, and we're ready to go. It actually comes out tomorrow.
Yes, and we're excited to have you on exclusively here to talk about it. So when you sat down, and I wrote a book and with a ghostwriter too, and I know the process of selling the image of it and getting out on promotion for it, with all the knowledge that you have with bookmaking, sports, behind the scenes, behind the counter, in front of the counter, and relationships, what's the hook to the book?
It gives people an inside look. Long game. I share a lot of pretty funny anecdotes and interesting stories with a lot of people that most readers will recognize. And then it's a cautionary tale moving forward. And from the time I finished writing till the time the book came out, now it's been a few months. And exactly what I was warning about is coming to reality, unfortunately, and that's the blows to the integrity of professional sports in America, which is a prime concern right now. And I'm worried about the future. I don't like what's going on in certain states around the country, and there's too many opportunities that have been created and too many partnerships for my case. And by that I mean partnership between the leagues themselves and the gaming companies, which obviously I have nothing against the gaming companies. I love the gaming industry. I still do. But I don't believe they should be partnering up with professional franchises.
Unbelievable. A lot of people agree with you. Art Manteras is our guest as we promote his new book. When I thought I saw something. I saw something yesterday on the Fox pregame show where they were giving out a parlay at 6-1 with one of the talented guys they had there on the desk. And I said to myself, wow, they're dealing with a gaming partner that's in the news for having some cash flow problems. Here's a network that's covering the game and broadcasting on their network. And instead of just offering up, the offer, sign up for $50, get 200 in free bets, they're actually giving you a parlay, which is the toughest bet to cash in all of football. And I said, man, I don't recall seeing anything like that. Are you concerned with that, of not only the partners, the gaming companies, but the networks who carry football getting involved with that before the kickoff of a playoff game?
I am. But league, people there has been things to me. Now I did the NBA for a decade. Security, technical, and that was my message was well received in the league for a long time. They agreed with me that there needs to be a clear separation between gambling on sports and participation in sports, and those lines can't be crossed. Well, I still believe that. I'm not the one that's changed. Believe that.
Art Manteras is our guest. He was inducted into the SBC Sports Betting Hall of Fame for his contributions to sportsbook development in Nevada, an absolute legend. So what are you concerned also about, and I'm sure you'll have a lot of this in the book, in regards to athletes as they're playing involved in sports gambling, even if they claim they're not involved in the sport they play in, but they want to venture out and bet on other sports? What's the concern there?
Well, that betting on other sports, it doesn't concern me much directly, but it's the problem is these are crimes of opportunity now that are happening, and what happened with in the NBA with the player being accused of rigging proposition wagers on himself, and same thing the same accusation made against a baseball pitcher recently because there was proposition wagering on their individual performance. And for better or worse, I'm one of the guys that really kicked off proposition wagering in Las Vegas and in the U.S. by putting up a prop in 1985 that got so much notoriety, and that was my William the Refrigerator prop, whether he scored a touchdown or not. And that prop got so much media attention that it was just nuts. It was shocking, and it was a real lesson to me of how how big sports marketing can be if utilized properly. But in any case, we got killed on that proposition at Caesar Palace in '85, and I got a call from the chairman of the company the next day, thanking me and congratulating me for getting more notoriety and publicity for Caesar Palace than they ever could have purchased. And so, that was a pretty wild experience. But that wasn't the first proposition ever in Las Vegas, of course, but it was the first big one that got so much national attention. And proposition wagering has just exploded, since then, and seems to be growing every year. My personal opinion had always been that I didn't like proposition wagering on college sports. I was very reluctant and very late in the game to ever offer individual proposition wagering on college students. I did it at the end of my career to keep up with the Joneses. I felt I had to eventually. I didn't like it, and I still don't like it. But I must admit that this keeping into the pros has been a real surprise to me. I didn't expect that.
Sports gambling legend Art Manteras joins us. He's got his new book out. We'll promote that momentarily. What concerns would you have for me, who has a 24 and 22-year-old sons? They're not gamblers, but they look at it, and all the rumors we're hearing about of kids on college campuses gambling at a high rate because they're addicted to their phones, they're addicted to their apps, they're being marketed to directly because they're great on their phones and they can fund their app and go in there and start gambling, and they're encouraged to gamble. What do you see as the future of that?
And I'm really opposed to states that allow fantasy tax for kids under 21. That just doesn't happen in my opinion. Nothing. Of course, there's a great product and great systems with some of the operators and not rules too, and the states that allow kids to play fantasy. Just under 21, they really have to be correct. There's no place for them.
Art, finally, with your background, especially being a guy that was available and you talk to people, and again, your relationships, you have a great history of that. What is your concern going forward about the future of the casino industry and sports books and the problem Vegas is going through now, with some people calling it price gouging and really spending from everything from parking to $17 bottles of water, and trying to get the great customers and the partners back in the house that will go up to the sports book and bet and sit there and have a comp beer and watch a game and get back to the old Vegas that you were great at and know so much about?
Well, that's a very valid question, and unfortunately, a lot of us timers saw this problem coming from time, and concerns fell on deaf ears. But there is some price gouging going on. There is nickel and diming going on, of course. And when I see pictures online of some hotel check-in lines that are spread out across the casino through the slot machines, and people waiting in line to check into their hotel, and things like that, just really bother me. And I think I say somewhere in the book that the old-fashioned hosts have been replaced by analysts, and right now analysts have too much say in the casinos. And you could always figure out ways to pencil out on paper to make more money in a certain space but the whole package has to come together. You have to give guests great service, great courtesy, ample space to move around, and ample help around the casino floor, and so on and so forth. And right now, I think some of my colleagues still in the business are coming to that realization.
Art, I'm assuming we go to Amazon.com, all the major bookstores. Where do we get the book?
Stores tomorrow.
Give us the title of the book again. Is there a website tied to this?
I had done it 20, 30, or almost 30 years ago. The super book, when I was the biggest super book. Now this is a book, and it's no way related to the first book, but take off on the same name.
Pleasure to talk to you. I hope to see you soon. Good luck with the book. I'm sure it's going to do great.
Thank you so much.
Nice talking to you. Art Manteras, a legend in the sports gaming industry. Clay, you've known the name. You've been here as long as I've been, and sure you know him, and great opportunity for him to give some of his stories and knowledge to some of the people that are just getting into the business.
Sure, especially when you think about the industry as it is now. They wouldn't be anywhere without guys like Art Manteras and from Jimmy Vaccaro coming up and writing prop bets, taking no-limit bets, high-limit bets, and meeting gangsters, celebrities, all that would come to Las Vegas throughout the years that made this place full of characters. Art Manteras was on the forefront of dealing with all of them.
He's a big name in town. One story to say here before we come back with 3 up, 3 down. Adam Schefter reporting, while the Atlanta Falcons announced an official interview with former Ravens head coach John Harbaugh, he already has been conducting preliminary and extensive phone calls with the Giants, the Titans, the Browns, the Raiders, and the Cardinals, per sources. He's trying to determine who to meet with later this week and into next week before making a decision. He is fully expected to coach in 2026, Adam Schefter. He's talked to the Raiders. Good to have that there. When we come back, I do it every Sunday into Monday, 3 up, 3 down. The 3 best performances and the 3 worst over the weekend. And there's some good ones coming up. 702-365-9200. We're brought to you by Virgin Hotels. Become a Cherry Rewards member. Head on out to Virgin and see all the big changes that are happening on property every day. All right, everybody. Thank you. Great turnout today. Can everybody please hit like and subscribe on the way out? Please hit like and subscribe on the way out. We would greatly appreciate that. Thank you for watching and listening, man. Mad Dog Sports Radio tonight, 8 p.m. Pacific. A little late on the East Coast, but I don't live on the East Coast.